If you keep reptiles as pets and you always want to be striving to do the best for that specific animal, whatever that species may be, maybe you've got one, maybe you've got 21, it doesn't really matter, you always want to be doing the best. The best way to get the best knowledge is to go to your local zoo. If it's a zoological zoo, just like Chester Zoo that we've been to today, then that's the best one to do. They have access to information that we just don't have access to. I know John Courtney Smith, the head scientist at Arcadia, has written a book on metabolic bone disease that is only accessible direct to the zoos. So that's the best option to do. Go to the zoos, check out what they do, and that's what we've done here. We're going to study their enclosures, see how they do it, and that's going to benefit us in the long run. Let's check out Chester Zoo's reptile enclosures. Wow, that's amazing.
What is it?
The big drip system up there dripping in. All that UV light. It's got the heat sources over there. Can you spot him? He'll be hiding. Maybe he'll be hiding because it's what we noticed with this one is there's an awful lot of UV, there's an awful lot of additional space and an awful lot of places to actually move to. We actually really like this, especially with the additional UV and the heat that was in this enclosure. You'll notice that a lot through the whole video. Every single enclosure is packed with UV, but also packed with loads of places to hide to get away from the UV rays. Jacob, this is the Gaboon Viper, the West African Gaboon Viper, my favourite ever species, and this is a great habitat, isn't it?
Where is
so
it?
What we've got, oh look, there he is,
Oh,
so he's camouflaged just while he's looking at me. Wow, look at that head, the little horns sticking up. Ah, that's amazing. And fully naturalistic, all the leaf litter, the substrate, the naturalistic wood. Look at the UV, all the way up there, so that's powerful enough to get it all the way down there. Let's have a look, see if we can zoom in onto the actual lamps themselves and see what they say. So they're running on Arcadia, and
where is it?
just wow, there's that one there, all the way down there. There should be another one, I think, in there. Yes, I can see it, tucked up all the way back there, out of the UV light. Can you see it, Jacob? Where is it then?
Oh, it's over there.
Yeah. What about this for a chameleon setup? It's not just there, but there, the whole thing all the way inside, all that UV light up the top along with the additional heat spots. So all the heat spots up there, the big halogen lamps, they're all over the place. A mass amount of UV just there, but directly underneath the UV is the chameleon. Now in here you've got panther chameleons and a Parsons chameleon. Look at the depth all the way back down there, all the way over here, all the additional heat sources, loads of different UV outputs. This is just amazing, and that dude is sat just underneath the UV. From the other side of the enclosure, I don't know what that is, but it's up there. Now there's a showcase for a dart frog enclosure. A few other species of lizards in here. This is mainly, I'll cut them all. Ah, absolutely stunning creatures, but again, fully naturalistic, loads of log work, loads of tree work, big LED plant grow lights. Look at how much UV they've actually packed into this enclosure, so I'll be interested to see the UVI, but this is one of the best places to get inspiration when you're looking at stuff like this. Look at the size of that Hercules beetle. Didn't even know that was there. Wow. Look at the size of this. It's about an 8 foot by 3 foot deep by 3 foot tall enclosure for thumbnail dart frogs. Tiny little dart frogs. There's loads more down there. Oh, there's loads. All that leaf coverage, all the branches that go right the way up and they can't climb. But look, there's another one right there, as close as possible to the UV light, which is there and there. Heat lamp just there. More UV. This is just an amazing setup. If, like me, you're learning an absolute ton through looking at these enclosures and how you can better the care for your animals, why not hit that like button and subscribe, because we're always trying to better the care of our animals here at Northern Exotics. And this is one of the enclosures that gave me my inspiration for my green tree python. This is, all the way down there, emerald tree boa. Just look at him sat there. But this is the person who looks after all this, is one of the people that I contacted for my green tree python. It's a bit of dirty glass, I'll give you that, but loads of branch work, loads of tree work, loads of space, loads of UV, heat lamps. Ah, just Yeah, so many options, so many places. Just you can do anything now. Oh. Now that is a caiman lizard enclosure. Full pond area because they are a semi-aquatic lizard. See one of them just down there. One of them just up there. Now pre-COVID I saw these and they weren't this big. But again, loads and loads of UV. Heat sources. More UV. Loads of branchwork, loads of basking areas. Even water running down the back wall. A Parsons Chameleon. The biggest species of chameleon that we can have. Just sat there. Directly under all the UV, all the heat, all the plant grow, LED lights. Oh my god, the space is amazing. Now one thing that's just dawned on me throughout all of these enclosures, when I'm filming any reptile enclosure, if I've got a magnetic ballast for the UV lighting, it flickers. If you've got an electronic ballast, it doesn't flicker. None of these are actually flickering, so they're all on electronic ballasts. That must mean the flickering of the light that we can't physically see with our own eyes, can reptiles see it? Maybe that's some scientific research. If you're on a magnetic ballast, try and move over to electronic. If you want to see a video based on that topic, make sure you let me know in the comments down below and I'll crack on with it. Again, tiny little dart frogs. There's some roaches. Really tall. Tons of UV spray systems. Deep heat projectors. LED plant grow lights. You seem to find that all the plants are growing straight towards the plant grow LED lights. Everything's just benefiting really nicely. So this is the one that I like to do a lot of work with. It's the European sand lizard. Poof, looks like that. Endangered species in the UK. And this is the Chester Zoo here do a wild captive breeding for wild repopulation scheme with these guys. They're only really small. They hide in the sand dunes. There's only a few places locally where they still actively live. And from my knowledge, these ones actually they hatch them out in captivity and then release them in the wild basically, but they'll get like a sandy bit just there where the sun will hit them. That's where they'll bask and stuff like that. But then they'll hide their eggs in the actual sand. They're obviously a cold man-made sand dune, but it's still absolutely amazing, and I don't think we're going to see one. Lasiodorus parabana, the salmon pink bird eater. Again, fully live planted enclosure. It's a lot more humid than my setup, so I may have to change that. But the thing that I like about this is something that we're actually working on here at Northern Exotics with Scott's Inverts. Not the misting system, but UV light. Now it is above mesh, so that does reduce it down, but Lasiodorus parabana in a mesh enclosure, well, in a UV powered enclosure. Emerald tree monitor. Wow, all that UV, all that LED.
Can I see?
I'll show you it in a minute, little man. Now this is interesting. It's a red-tailed racer, obviously again, fully naturalistic sort of substrate, loads of live plants, but they've actually got wind in here. That's a next level style of enrichment. Again, all the heat, all the UV, everything you need. It's a red-tailed racer, Jacob, so it's going to be racing around the floor. Even in bug enclosures, this is a Madagascar giant leaf kayagadid. Massive amount of UV. We're doing not enough in the reptile hobby.
Yeah, they're literally minnows. No, wait a minute, there's not minnows, there's one minnow. 2 minnows.
24-foot long reticulated python enclosure. What? Just what? We're going to go further around and find him. I can already see his tail just all the way down there, so we'll go around and have a look. But look at that. He's absolutely insanely beautiful. This big boy, isn't he? Look at the size of him. Just sat there. There's his head. He's just loving up the heat that comes from whatever's in those cages. Again, full UV spectrum inside here. Full pond. Look at the space that he's got compared to what we provide them in captivity. Tell you what, this is better than a tub that you see everyone having them in. Look at how big he is. A white-lipped Komodo Island pit viper. What? Look at that for an enclosure. But even better, look at that for this snake. Like, what? Oh my god. Look at that for a naturalistic setup. Again, UV heat the lot. What? Again, fully naturalistic. They've got the wind going. They've got the infrared heat in those cages, all the UV up the top, and mangrove snake. A really large example of a Boland Python. Again, all fully naturalistic, loads of log work, loads of climbing areas, loads of UV, loads of heat, and a massive enclosure. There's another one over there.
There's another emerald.
That one just down there. So this is a Komodo dragon enclosure. I can't really find him. I don't know how I can lose a 10-foot long lizard, but we'll go through the process. UV just there, going straight down onto that basking spot, and then underneath that platform there, you can see how it's all lit up. And that is exactly the same with the heat and the UV. There's loads of heat lamps kicking around to keep the heat in here. And there's also, I think there's a heat area just up there somewhere. You could probably see the trees all blowing the heat into here. Normally he's sat on that sort of rock just there, but today, so he's probably just out the back of the rock or hiding away somewhere or behind a tree or somewhere. But that's how they do the UV in an extremely large enclosure. Again, we've got loads of different species in this one, which is what would naturally happen in the wild. We've got a heat lamp just there, massive UV input, fully live planted. Again, this substrate is a firm floored substrate. I suppose that's to allow the plants to grow as well, but they always seek the LED light for their basking areas. I don't know why, but there we go.
Come over here. It's right in the corner.
Where? Where's the crab?
It's all the way in the corner.
Oh yeah, you've got it just there, moving away.